Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Authority Marketing Live. I'm Melanie Hirschhorn. I am so excited to be here. First day back from vacation. And oh my goodness, my guest today is going to change everything for you because Kerry Dobson is going to talk about the great benefit of scaling with group programs and how authors can benefit. I do have to apologize for the crackling sound. It's my dog. He's on the floor and he is holding on to a wrapper and he will not let go. So anyway, without further ado, here is Kerry. Hi, Kerry.
Hi, Melanie. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for being here. Sorry for the weird crackling sound. So, okay, Marty, for the love of all things, please stop. Please, just, it's enough. Okay. Hi. So let's talk about, sometimes people are like overwhelmed with the idea of creating a group program, but you've kind of made it super simple. So why don't you talk about what's so great about having a group program?
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, when I think about group programs, especially when it pertains to authors, what I'm thinking about is how do you add extra kind of revenue to what you're doing? How do you get your book to come alive? Because as you're writing your book and imagining all this wisdom that you're putting out into the world, you assumed and wanted people to take what you're writing and do something with it. And yet, what we know is that knowledge does not necessarily equal action, right? We can, I always say if knowledge was the answer, YouTube would have changed the world, right? And the reality is that people need support. They need help in actually taking action on what it is that you're sharing with them. And so group programs is such a great way to do that because you're able to actually help a whole bunch of people because in each group you have X number of people. I always say you need at least 3 for it to be a group, but it can be much higher. And then the other part is you're actually helping them with a community of like-minded people who have similar interests and is interested in doing the same thing that everybody else is. You're helping them to take action and you're creating kind of this mini community around your book that is actually taking the action, getting the results.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of why I talk about group programs specifically when it comes to authors, because it's about how do I take what I've already done? Because I've put all this work and effort into getting my wisdom into one place, but how do I actually make it easier for people to take action on it and actually benefit from all that wisdom that I've put together?
Absolutely. And that's such an important piece because, the book is a book and it's great. But if people don't know about it, they're not going to. Sorry, my dog is doing weird things over there. But I can still do 2 things at the same time. Marty, stop it. I hope I can do 2 things at the same time. I'm telling you, vacation brain.
Right? It's real. It's real.
It's real. So, people they've written a book, but if they don't market it, then people aren't going to know about it. And if they don't do anything with it, then, they're not going to be able to create those transformations that the group program really allows for. So, what are some of the things that your clients, some of the sticking points where they're like, oh, I'm really nervous about this or I'm fearful about that. What are let's dispel some of those.
Yeah. So the first one is like, well, what would my group program be about? Right. Like, because they have a whole book and it's probably not the whole book because that's probably a little bit too much. But there's kind of 2 approaches that I encourage authors to think about. So the first one is where, you have a community that wants to engage with you. They want to get more information from you. They want your support. So you kind of continue to be that expert that you are as the writer of the book. And you're giving them the opportunity to get additional support from you within that community. The other one is sometimes as authors, we just don't have the bandwidth to provide that level of support to people that want it, right? And so this is where, how do you help coaches and consultants take your work forward in the work that they do, right? So you target and work with those coaches and consultants and help them to figure out how do they take some of the tools within your book and incorporate it into what they're already doing. And then they kind of go out into the world and spread the message and sell your books for you. So that's That's the first one, is kind of what type of group program are you looking for? And that really all depends on where you are as an author, the bandwidth you have, kind of, is this one of many things that you're doing, or is kind of the book and the work of the book the next year or two of what you're doing, right? So that's the first one. And then the second one is really getting clear about what it is you can help people with. Because typically when you've written a book, there's so much information in it, and you don't want to overwhelm people. So it's about figuring out what are some of the key experiences or activities you want people to take with your book, and then condensing that into a group program that really helps people to take the wisdom that you have and apply it in their life or in their business.
So do you help authors pull out the nuggets that are going to be part of the program? And how do you do that?
Yeah, so I joke that people pay me to tell them no, because as the author, as the expert, you've already probably culled a lot out of it before you even put the book to get it published, right? So the reality is that we're writing a book because we have a desire to help people, and sometimes from that desire comes this idea of like, let me give you everything,
We
right?
fire hose you. And yeah.
Exactly. And the reality is literally our brains can't work when we're overwhelmed with that much information. And less is more, meaning that if you focus on 3 or 4 key experiences and activities that people can take from the wisdom of your book and do in their life or business, and then provide a bunch of support and feedback and community about it, they're going to be so excited about what you've helped them do that then you can do phase 2, right? You can say, okay, there's some of this other stuff in the book that's really helpful, but you've got the foundation. So now let's take you to the next level. So typically what I do with authors is I read their work, right? And then really help them to understand what are those key things that if people just did those 3 to 4 things, did them well, got feedback on them, and practiced them, that would make the difference. And then that's what we build the program around, is those activities.
I love that. So how does a group program differ from, say, an on-demand course?
Yeah, so for me, it's the care, right? So it's the support that you get. I always say you want to do in the group what only the group can do, right? So it's not about sharing knowledge in a different format. You can absolutely include kind of a course vibe, some videos within a group program, but when you're together, it's about facilitating those activities. So people are reflecting, they're thinking about what they're doing, they're practicing skills, they're coming back and saying, this didn't work, help me with this, or oh no, this happened, or this worked, this is great. So it's really about facilitating that group of people who are trying out and experiencing those activities that you are kind of setting up for them. That's important.
Okay, I love that. So how did you get into this line of work?
Yeah. So I spent over 15 years in learning and development. So the majority of that was in corporate. And what I realized was, although I loved what I didn't necessarily love doing it for executives who were telling me what they thought other people needed to learn, which wasn't always what other people thought they needed to learn. And the reality is I really do believe that there's so much wisdom out there that it goes in one ear and out the other. And I know from that 15 years of experience, having created and led over 100 group programs, I know that when they're crafted well, those group programs spur action, activity, attempts. There's courage that comes from it. And it really does allow you to get to that point where you're willing to try things that you're probably not going to do when you're working on your own. So it's that passion that I have for groups that I kind of said, why not help authors and coaches who already are trying to get their wisdom out into the world, help them to create these group experiences that are so impactful and make such a difference. Because the reality is I know that for most authors, when they first sat down to write that book, it was about the change they could make in the world. And the reality is knowledge isn't enough. You need to take it to the next level and help people really take action on those ideas so that they can see the change, be part of the change, and the impact that you always imagined then really happens.
Oh, I love that. So well said. So what can people find when they go to this website?
Yeah, jjdack.com. So first and foremost is what does JJDAC mean is an often a question. So it's a family company. My father created it. He was in consulting and sales, and I kind of took it over a couple years ago. But it's my mother's name is Jean, my sister's name is Julie. Our last name is Dobson. My dad's name is Andy, and I'm Kerry. So it's kind of sentimental. I know that it doesn't connect necessarily with what I do, but it connects me to kind of the family and the vision that my dad had when he created it. So if you go over to jjdac.com, you'll be able to kind of see a little bit about what we do. We split it up between who are the people that kind of already are doing group programs and how can we help them versus if you're new or newer to group programs, how can we help you with that? And the reality is the best thing to do is to just book a call and let's have a conversation, because sometimes we jump to group programs a little too fast and sometimes we're right at the perfect time. And so having a conversation just helps me to say, hey, these are a couple things you need to do before you think about a group program, or yeah, you're ready for a group program. Let's talk about how we can support you. And I always feel like a little bit of a hypocrite, but the work that I do is one-on-one because, I don't have quite the audience for a group program, but also authors want to do their program, right? They want the attention on them. They want to put their work out into the world, and the one-on-one work allows them to do that quicker.
Absolutely. So what do you feel about people who suggest that enroll people in a group program and then kind of build the airplane in the air as it's flying?
So I am not a fan of that approach. And listen, does it have to be perfect? No. But you need to know that the outcome that you're promising them is something that will be achievable. And the way you know that is by designing the activities and experiences that they're going to have and what are they going to go do in their business or in their life. So there's some level of planning that you need to do. Does everything have to be exactly perfect? No. The first time you do it, probably not, but then present it as well as a beta and a test so you can get feedback. And then it's about, for me, why would you do a group program if you're not going to make it repeatable? It doesn't make sense, like from an investment standpoint, from a time standpoint. So you're looking to repeat this anyway. So why not set it up right the first time so that it literally is as simple as like, I've got this all sorted. It's a next round of the group program. Here's my prep. Let's go.
I love that. Okay, everybody, head over here, jjdak.com. Don't be fooled by the letters. And you will get lots of great information, and they can book a call right on your website, right?
Yeah, right on the website. It's all over the place on the website to do it. So
Okay, awesome. Kerry, thank you so much for being here and sharing your wisdom and your knowledge with everybody.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Okay, have a great day, everybody. And I promise I will be in work mode next time.